Welcome back to ilovemytools.com. This is Mike DeZino, America's Blind Tradesman, and I'm here today to answer a question that I get asked a lot, and that is, how does a blind man measure for the kind of accuracies my reputation holds me out to be able to do? And there's a couple of tricks I've learned over the years, and if I share them with you, you'll be highly skilled no matter where you are now, and you'll learn a few things. A lot of the real good craftsmen I know use these tricks also, even though they may not be blind, because it does help you do very, very highly accurate work in measuring with very, very little effort. Save your effort and your skill for when you need to be precise, and then after a while you could just cheat a little bit. You know, close enough is close enough, but there are things you can do. For example, I do use a Braille measuring tape. The only thing is the tape is only punched every 6 inches. Well, that's good when you're measuring feet, or I just want to see approximately, you know, how long a wall is. And if it comes out to 7 foot, 6 or 8 or 9, well, then I know an 8-foot stud will do it. So I have a pretty good idea what size my material selection should be. Also, there's a little Braille ruler that gives me increments, but they're only accurate to an 1/8 inch. And again, it's only 6 inches long, the ruler. Over the years, I had learned tricks like when I'm working on the table saw, if I need 8 inches, I happen to know that my Lufkin rule is exactly 8 inches long, so I can put it between it and the blade. By the way, the saw is unplugged. That's a safety thing you got to pay attention to all the time. And so now I know I have exactly 8 inches. That's just a trick I've learned. I also know that one stick here is 7 by itself from here to there. If I slide the vernier up, that makes that 8 inches. If I unfold it, that's 14. If I slide it in, it's 13. 19. If it comes back out an inch, it's 20. And so over the years, I've learned a lot of variable numbers. Also, just laying down a standard framing square, you also know that on a standard framing square, you have 16, you have 24, you have 2 inches wide, you have 1.5 inches wide, you have 14 inches on the inside one way, and on the other way, you have 22.5 on the inside. But those are just standard measurements. But what do you do when you need to come down to smaller dimensions and you need to be accurate within a 32nd or a 16th of an inch? Well, here's what I do. I learned this trick when I worked as a millwright's assistant many years ago, and there were times that we had to go make parts and on the milling machine, and they showed me the tool makers had little measuring blocks that they would use, and that's what I did here. These are just chunks of aluminum. This one's 1 inch by 2 inches. This one's 3/4 of an inch square. These are 1/2 inch, 3/8, 1/4, 3/16, 1/8, and 1/16. So if I need to make a number, no matter what it is, let's say I need to make 4 3/16. There's 2. There's 3. There's 4. And I pick my bar here that's 3/16, which is this one. And I slide it over. I unlock the guy first, and I slide it over until it just barely touches the blade. And I back it off a fuzz, and there you go. I've got 4 3/16. If I needed 4 1/4, just substitute this and put in the 1/4 inch one, and open the rip guide up again, and just slide it over. Now I have 4 1/4. And for longer measurements, I have cut some blocks over the years of 3/4 inch material that are 8 inches square, 6 inches square, 12 inches square, so that any number I need to make, I can put the block down on the table first and add these to it, and that's it. And you just want to make it so you don't jam it into the blade. You just give it that little bit so that it just travels. There is blade wobble and everything else, and nothing's 100% when you're doing this type of work. But I'll tell you, it'll put you within thousands of being totally accurate every single time. And it's close enough for government work, and that's what I wanted to share. I use these same jigs, these measuring sticks, over on the drill press when I'm trying to get an exact measurement, very close. And I can also use them on just about anything I do. When I want to cut something in the vise, I'll measure it this way and make my marks using these, and it just helps me. It would help anybody. And when we years and years ago, when I had a construction company, the guys would come to me all the time, and they'd say to me, "Mike, how do you want me to do it? Do you want me to do it the regular way or the blind way?" And I'd say, "It really doesn't matter to me as long as you do it right." And they said, "Well, good, I'm going to do it the blind way." And I said, "Okay," because we found that a lot of the tricks that I developed that empowered me also were easily translatable to other people who maybe didn't have the skill but still needed to put out the quality of work, and it was universally usable by many, many people. And it was kind of fun sharing it. And of course I learned the other way too. There were things I learned to do that the sighted world did that was actually easier to do it their way, because you could do it by feel. But with these blocks, you can get any measurements, any accuracy, and you can duplicate it. That's the beautiful part. You can change the setting on your saw, and you can go right back and not rely upon the thing that the visual orientation has to do, which is which way are you looking at it? Because most people we find today cannot read a ruler, number one, and then if they tilt their head this way, they're not getting the same as looking straight on. And they don't know to go to the side of the blade and go for the long tooth on the kerf and everything else. There's a lot of little ins and outs that somebody in the trades a number of years have learned. Well, this is a way you can bring your apprentices up to speed pretty quickly to duplicate things. Also, if they're repeated cuts that you're doing over and over again, cut it once, make yourself some jig sticks or jig blocks or whatever, so that you can just easily alter your equipment, change it out real quick, and then go back to doing whatever you wanted to do. We find that also helps. When we're doing cabinet work, I'll make some jig sticks so that if I need 21.5 inches, I have a stick that's 21.5. I can kick this out, lay the stick in using the crosscut guide so it's square to the blade, and just set it up real quick. Those are a few of the tricks. If you have more, please go to the ilovemytools.com forum, open a discussion on some of the tricks you've learned on how to measure and measure it accurately over the year. Any jig building tricks you'd like to share, we'd love to see it. If you've got some video you'd love to share, we'd love to see that too. Again, I want to thank you for joining us today at ilovemytools.com. This is Mike Dizino, America's Blind Tradesman. Stay safe, stay productive, enjoy your tools, and we'll see you next time.